in South Africa because the country is experiencing its most serious crisis since the end of white minority rule in 1994. Protests and looting have now spread to several cities, and the security forces are struggling to control the unrest. 72 people are reported to have died in the past few days. Well, for the latest, we can cross now to Cape Town and talk to correspondent MC Ferreira, who's standing by. MC, first of all, what can you tell us about the unrest today?
Well, the death toll's gone up. We don't have an updated figure, but we know a man's been killed in Unrest in Gauteng, apparently when taxi drivers opened fire on looters at a mall. Minibus taxi owners are now among those who've come out and tried to stem the looting because there are not enough police and soldiers on the ground to bring the situation under control fully. And members of the public in the past 2 days trying to protect shops in their neighborhoods from looting, because this has now resulted in people struggling to get fuel, food and medicine. The bread prices skyrocket, and particularly in Durban, which is one of the flashpoints of fuel crisis that has developed. The city's been devastated, and there are reports there's still looters in the city centre, but for the moment, the army is focusing on getting major transport routes reopened. And they fear that the emergency service and the police are running out of fuel. And this effective blockade in Durban is a logistical crisis that's affecting the rest of the country. It's a major port. The freight cannot flow from here to the rest of the country. And it's also home to a company supplying oxygen for ventilators. And they now having to make contingency plans to get the oxygen to hospitals with COVID patients struggling with the third wave of the pandemic.
And MC, the government saying it's deploying its troops, the army as well as police, but clearly that for the moment is not working to quell this level of unrest. What other options does the government now have?
Well, the government's under increasing pressure from several sides to declare a state of emergency to stop the damage to the economy before it gets worse still. It doesn't have any plans at the moment, it appears, to move in this direction. For now, there's only 2,500 troops that have been deployed. But what we are seeing in the ruling party is considerable public soul searching as to how this could have happened and how to stop those who appear to be inciting the violence. The police minister has now said 12 people have been identified as fomenting this, and among them are senior officials who were close to former President, intelligence officials close to former President Jacob Zuma. So it's increasingly becoming plain that the divisions within the ruling party firstly complicated its ability to get early warning that this was brewing, and now to respond to the crisis, because there's a faction that for various reasons, and often self-serving reasons, remain sympathetic to him.
MC Ferreira for us there in Cape Town. Thank you very much indeed.